Hi everyone, it's Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. Without you, we could not make this happen. If you could do us a big favor, give us a thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, reach out to 25 of your closest contacts, let them know about the Voices for Voices TV show and let them also know as well that we are a 501(c)(3) nonprofit charity, that we do collect donations in any denomination for individuals that are getting ready to go into mental health care if that is their choice and that is their decision. So that's where the money goes. And then we have continuing operations of bringing this show to you. This is beamed all across the world. There are many different software packages that we use to be able to do that. And with us being a nonprofit, that comes out of our own pockets. So any help that you're able to do, you can do that on lovevoices.org, 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 and that's ORG at the end. So we're going to talk about therapy today on this episode. Some people like it, some people despise it, some people are on the fence, not quite sure. They think it's a bad thing, maybe, that nobody's going to understand me, that I don't need to go to therapy because the word therapy, just like the words mental health, it's kind of like there's a stigma around the word therapy. And we're here to squash that because terms, names are only half of what what's happening. So with mental health, for example, we all have mental health. So for me to sit here and talk about and share about my mental health, that's me talking about my own personal mental health. I have physical health and I have mental health. Sometimes I talk about physical health, sometimes I talk about mental health. Sometimes I talk about therapy, sometimes I don't. Therapy, counseling, various terms can mean very similar uh, definitions. So I'm going to go talk to my counselor. I'm going to go talk to my therapist. I'm going to go talk to my psychiatrist. Um, those are the types of things that I'm familiar with. And so when we talk about specifically therapy slash counseling, I used to think it was the scariest thing in the world. So we'll back up my life a little bit where I've shared this before, where I was in my teens and I took a lot of cold and cough pills, so much so that I needed to be admitted into the hospital, had my stomach pumped, charcoal, all those non-fun things. So upon my release, one of the things that I was asked to do was to go to therapy, go see a counselor. And I remember being visited in the hospital and a person came in and said they were a caseworker, and I didn't know what a caseworker was. I didn't know. And I forget exactly how the conversation went. I just remember being in that not great state of my body and mind after that happened and trying to slowly get those active ingredients and others out of my system to start to heal, from the inside out. And so when I was released, I went to trying to think of how many. I keep coming up maybe four, five, six. I'm not sure exactly how many counseling slash therapy visits I had, but I had a few. I was prescribed antidepressant, and it didn't work out very well because for a lot of people, if you're starting an antidepressant, or even not, there's still a lot of medications out there as well that will have you, at the very beginning, if it's something you're going to be taking for quite a while, uh, it's not going to start working right away, usually. And so there's this, I don't want to call it like a buffer. Okay, I'll call it buffer. There's a little buffer zone of from starting to like where the medication is going to start working, or at least you're going to be able to feel a change in a positive way. Well, I didn't quite make it through the negative thoughts, bad thought phase. And I don't remember if I tried one or two different antidepressants of like I tried one maybe and then may have tried another. I'm not quite sure. Things are a little bit fuzzy. I'm 44 years old. I'm It's interesting. There's some things I remember crystal clear and others I don't remember everything crystal clear. Uh, and that's okay. Uh, so that was when I was introduced to therapy, counseling, sitting in an office and ask questions. And I mean, I was in my teens. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I wasn't fitting in, and the friend group I had wasn't the healthiest. Uh, and so that's kind of in a nutshell, like where I was at. And yeah, so that was my first, in my teens was the first time I was kind of introduced to therapy or counseling, whatever, however we want to refer to it. Then 2017 hits, 37, 36, 37. Um, and that hospital visit, the one that changed my life, I think for the better, because there's more positives that came out of that time than there were negatives. There's still negatives. First off, nobody's perfect, as we all know. So I'm not perfect. But as far as, let's just call my binge drinking of alcohol, I don't drink alcohol anymore. I'm fine with it. I don't need to. I can drink sparkling water. I can drink club soda if I'm in an environment where a lot of people are drinking alcohol, and it's like old hat for me. I don't have a problem with that. If somebody asks me, I'll share with them. Just like I've shared with millions through this show and through speaking engagements. So coming out of the hospital, there were various group therapies that I was in. And then I also had a therapist slash counselor and then a psychiatrist. Uh, and a few years into, I mean, it was several years, 4 or 5, maybe, yeah, 4 or 5. My counselor retired. And so I was in search of a counselor, still seeing a psychiatrist, still managing my medication, and they listened to me, but not to the extent of, a counselor, therapist, however you want to refer. And when my therapist retired, I looked around, I tried. There was, I think, one that I may have seen a few times, uh, but it didn't work. It wasn't working out. It was a little bit up in years. And so again, I was in search and I hadn't come across one. So I was really just seeing a psychiatrist. And so just recently did I start seeing also a therapist. And first off, if I put the in my teen therapy and that if I put that aside and look at my therapy, 2017 and up until current date that this is being filmed, for the most part, therapy has been very helpful. I'm able to share, I'm able to talk freely. And what one of the things I do want to share is just because you find a therapist and go to a session or two, doesn't mean you're going to continue with that therapist, right? We all have, a little bit different personalities and expectations of what we're looking for in a therapist. And so we might say, thank you. I, can you recommend somebody else? And so it may take some time to find one, but don't let that deter you from finding one because that's the easy thing to do. Trust me, I've been there. It's been years since I've had not only a psychiatrist, medication management professional, as well as strictly, therapist, therapy, counselor. And so don't beat yourself up over it. We all have different, right? We all have a little bit different minds and mindsets. And so uh we don't need to beat up ourselves over that. We just keep searching, we keep looking. And that's one of the things that I've learned. So number one, therapy isn't bad. It's actually for strong people who are talking about hard parts of their lives. Because that's really that's what really brought me into the hospital in 2017. One of the big things was I wasn't dealing with things, 138 different things at that time. Healthy. I was not. And is so that, that's one thing. You can call it what you want. Call it therapy, call it counseling, call it talking to a person, sharing information with them guiding and helping. But it really comes down to a two-way street. And that's what I found with my latest counselor is that the very beginning, like our first visit, most of the time was tell me a little bit why you're here. And I was like, how much time do we have? Uh, because I'm already past that. Like the therapy and counseling, like those things don't bother me like they used to. So that's why I'm laughing a little bit. I'm not laughing because it's funny, like ha ha, ha, I'm going to counsel. It's not that. It's just how long do you have? Because I have a lot to unpack. But before I even got to that point, my therapist went into depth about their background, their style, probably about, 10 minutes or so before I got into like, why are you here, Justin? And it was very helpful because I was able to find out really quick if this person so far, like one visit in, was gonna be a good fit for me. And the one of the questions was like, what are you looking to get out of this? What are you looking to get out of our sessions together? Like, what's the reason? Like, how can I help facilitate what you're looking to get? Like, solve problems, give homework, like, there's a lot of different things. And they said, I don't give homework. These are conversations. I'll come in and ask questions as we're going through, but I'm here for you. And so whatever way you want to go through the sessions, I said that's what I'm here for. And that was one of the things I was looking for, was somebody to, and I'm an introvert, remember? So I'm an introvert and I said, somebody that, will listen, will interject when needed, will guide. Um, I just need to be able to take what's in here and stuff that's stressful or going on, and I need to be able to share. And so I think that's been the hardest kind of transition part over the years of I need to I need to do that. And sometimes that means I gotta write things down, and other times it's just so heavy on my mind that I just remember. And and so therapy is not scary. It's not. If you're made to feel uncomfortable, if if you're not comfortable with the with who you're matched up with at first, that's okay. And the counselors, they don't take it personally. It's a two-way street. It's not just what the counselor or therapist wants, it's also what you want and what I want. Because if you and I leave those sessions and we don't feel like we got anywhere, it's like, oh well, they didn't listen to me, or I talked too much and they didn't interject, and I don't know if I'm on the right path. And we can go on for hours to talk through this. But I'm here to say therapy is not a bad word. Counseling is not a bad word. I want to say, in a sense, in a sense, it's like talking to a friend. It's sharing information that, with HIPAA and, the different laws that are, unless, you're talking about harming yourself or others and all that, it stays, between me and my therapist, you and your therapist, your friend and their therapist, what have you. And it's heavy. A lot of this stuff that we talk about is very heavy, just like our show. Very heavy topics we talk about. Our TikTok lives, very heavy topics that we share and we talk about. And that's okay. If that's what we feel that we're called to do, why we're on Earth, why we feel like we're on Earth, the reasons why we feel that we're, left on Earth. Just like I say, how did I make it to be age 44? There must be something. Again, I'm a believer in God. There must be something that God said and God thinks about me. Like, Justin, I still have work for you to do. I don't know what that is. Maybe it is Voices for Voices. Maybe it's not. Maybe Voices for Voices is just a part. Maybe it's a stepping stone. I don't know. Maybe it's to be introduced to somebody that is a guest. Uh, I have no clue. And so I don't want to try to figure all that out. I can, but that just creates more and more stress of, well, could it be this? Could it be that? And we could be here all day, all night, and for weeks thinking about what it is, why we're here, why we're still here. Uh, well, we made it through some of the tough, really tough events of our lives. So therapy's not bad. Counseling, not bad. You know, I thought I knew everything before 2017. I thought I could fix everything about me, and I couldn't. I wanted to. I felt like I could. I felt that, Justin, you can fix everything. You're the guy. But sometimes we need to just reach out for some help. It's not a bad thing. One of the things I do believe wholeheartedly, I'm not saying this is exactly what God wants me to do. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I wouldn't be in the position where we have filmed 430 plus episodes of this show with basically me as the staff. Me, not just the filming and recording and all that, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, but there's so much administrative busy work that goes on, finding titles, descriptions, hashtags. There's a lot of things that I wish I knew back when we got started with the show. And so we kind of, in a way, wandered a little bit, and we have reached again those 1,000 cities, that over 100 countries across the world. And so by finding some efficiencies that we can do or try to help broaden who watches and listens to our show, I have to give all the glory, first off, to God that put me in this position. And then secondly, it's got to be my psychiatrist, my therapist, because without those individuals, I wouldn't be here. I would have probably given up on life. I probably would have just, yeah, it's probably what I would have done, what I would have done. I'm so grateful and thankful I didn't give up. I haven't given up, that I have a future therapy appointment, that I have a future psychiatry appointment. And so while those may scare people, the terms, it doesn't for me. I need it. I get asked a lot of times, Justin, you've been getting therapy and seeing a psychiatrist and all the things. How, like, when are you going to stop? And I say, I don't think I'm going to. It's that important uh, in my life to have a psychiatrist, that there is medication that I do take from time to time. And I do need a therapist as well as the psychiatrist. Because I can't get to the point of sitting and having my mind erases all over to even be right here in the moment as much as I can for our shows. If it wasn't for all those factors, if it wasn't for God, if it wasn't for my therapist, if it wasn't for my psychiatrist. And so what is it for you? It's okay. You can peek your head out of the shell as if you're a turtle. That's how I felt. I felt like I was a turtle. My head was in the shell, and I didn't want to come out. And then I was kind of given almost basically an ultimatum. We can let you go home. You're not dying right now, or we can admit you voluntarily, and we could diagnose and do that. So at my lowest, thinking I could do everything myself, I it was at that point where I was like, Justin, you can't do everything. You need help. I know you don't want to believe it's the mental health related for the most part. Help. My nutrition was down. I lost about 40 pounds. Wasn't eating but carrot sticks and plain hummus. There's just a lot of things that were going on. And so that's why I say that was kind of the lowest mental health wise. But that was also like digging the foundation to get started to build somewhat of a semblance of a human being like me. And here we are, 430 episodes plus later, reaching people, dignitaries, presidents, foreign ministers, uh, military generals, regular people, all from right here. And it's all because of you. You've continued to watch, you've continued to listen, you've continued to share, you've continued to donate as you've been able to at lovevoices.org. You've purchased books through Voices for Voices Publishing. You've watched our TikTok lives that happen from time to time. And so not only do I have God, not only do I have a psychiatrist, not only do I have therapists, but I have you, our fans, our listeners, our viewers. Those are the four big ones. And then obviously, bring in family as a constant. So those are the five things. And I look at how can I alleviate some of the stress? How can I alleviate things that are holding me up? I look at one of those five, and a lot of times it's more than one of those five things. So reach out to your friend group, reach out to 25, 50, 100, your friend group, pass along the Voices for Voices podcast and TV show. As you know, we're everywhere. We're just behind the Dan Bongino show and the Joe Rogan experience. We're here for the long haul. We're not here just for the short term. We're here for as long as I'm here, and I hope somebody continues this when I'm gone. But right now, I'm here, you're here, and we're doing this together. So we're sending a lot of love and good vibes your way. And let's celebrate the voices of everybody in the world. And until next time, Justin Allen Hayes, Voices for Voices. Please be a voice for you or somebody in need. We'll see you next time. We love you. We'll see you next time.